want to note, whoever is the parent of that little one in the front row, you have a gorgeous child on your hands. Joining the Finance Committee this morning are William Kimmett, the nominee for Commerce under Secretary for International Trade, Mr. Ken Keyes, the nominee for Assistant Treasury Secretary for Tax Policy. They will make up part of Donald Trump's hand-picked team to run key portions of what I consider to be the most self-destructive, incompetent, anti-worker economic agenda in modern American history. Donald Trump is raising inflation and causing chaos in the markets. And significantly, he admits to be doing it on purpose. The rest of the world is figuring out how to realign without us and leave our economy, workers, and businesses behind. What Donald Trump did yesterday has the look of some awfully sketchy market manipulation. And although he had clearly enjoyed basking in the headlines about a market bounce, the celebration was premature. Here's the way I think you have to look at it. If you went back a couple of months and handed Donald Trump a clean slate, and he announced a 125% tariff on imports from China, a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico, a 10% global tariff, and additional tariffs on aluminum, steel, and cars, you'd have some investors and financial people and quite a few typical citizens feeling like they ought to light their hair on fire. Nothing Donald Trump did yesterday changes the fact that he has started a trade war on a scale we've never seen before, a trade war nobody can win. The guy calling the shots either doesn't care or doesn't understand that the tariffs in place today are still going to raise the cost of living for the typical family by thousands of dollars per year. Workers are terrified now about what's ahead, the possibility of a recession, and Trump's cabinet offers zero consolation. The Commerce Secretary says all is well because Trump's plan is to bring back sweatshop labor. Sweatshop labor would be coming to the United States. The Agriculture Secretary says families struggling to pay for food amid rising costs ought to return to subsistence farming. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and Republicans are working overtime to ram through the Congress a tax bill that amounts to a multi-trillion-dollar bailout for billionaires and big corporations. So that's where things stand today as the Finance Committee meets to discuss these nominations. Now, when you set aside the fancy job titles and look at what Donald Trump's tax and policies are accomplishing, Donald Trump has nominated Mr. Kimmett to serve as sort of a grim reaper for the middle class, and Mr. Keyes to turn the Treasury Department into an ATM for the ultra-wealthy. Mr. Kimmett has been in the building working at the Commerce Department for a while. This means this committee has another opportunity to question a Trump official on what I think the central issue is with respect to these tariffs. What is the plan? Donald Trump has proven that no one, not the American people, not our trading partners, no one can trust what he says. Everybody who works for him has got a different story, in fact, to explain what all the chaos is supposed to accomplish. It's possible the reason they can't give a straight answer is these tariffs aren't designed to solve an actual trade or economic challenge. They're designed to soak typical workers with higher taxes in order to have money to have more handouts for people at the upper portion of the top. According to the nonpartisan Joint Committee on Tax, the price tag for the Trump Republican tax agenda is now up to $7 trillion. And the biggest winners by far will be big corporations and the wealthy. Republicans have locked our side of the aisle out of this debate. There's no discussion of the biggest economic challenges Americans are facing today. They're not talking about how to build more housing, which is what I hear about at all of my town meetings. Rent, mortgages, housing. No talk about it here, though. Lots of talk about it at my town halls. The Trump people aren't talking about how to increase wages and create more good-paying jobs. Not talking about how to help Americans find affordable health care. They're not talking about helping parents with astronomical costs of child care. But they're spending plenty of time on the agenda of the billionaires and multinational corporations and thinking a lot about how everybody else is going to be on the hook to pay for them. If confirmed, Mr. Keyes and Mr. Kimmett will immediately get busy getting that harmful agenda drawn up and signed into law. So this is a very important hearing, I would say to my colleagues, and we'll have plenty of questions for our guests, and I welcome them. Thank you.